Hey, what up guys, it's Caleb here again, and in this video I'm gonna go back to the Q&A type of videos I was making before because I got a few questions from one of my viewers from New York. So his name is Desmond, and Desmond is 25 years old right now, and he is focusing on doing logo and branding stuff, but he would like to try out UI and UX because he watched some of my videos and think that UI and UX is kind of the future. So he got a few questions and I'm just gonna answer them. So I'm gonna read the questions first and then I'm gonna provide the answer. So the first question he asked was, what role do you think a UI designer, not front-end, is playing in the real-world business? Because I do not understand that when a client asks for website design, do they also need maintenance for the website? If so, how can a UI designer do that? How does it look like when a real web design project comes up? So I guess there's definitely a difference between a UI designer and a web designer. So for UI designer, you're doing a lot of things that kind of interact between the companies and the users. So think about like Facebook and Airbnb, right? Those are the platform. Those are I would say a lot more UI than just a simple website, right? But versus like just a website project. So website project could be restaurant website for yourself, telling people more information. There's not a lot of interaction going on between the websites and the user. So like that is a simpler website project. So when you're talking about UI and UX and website, I think there's a different between that. Not saying website cannot be a UI UX design project, but like UI UX design, we're generally talking more like a product, more like a SaaS product. It could be on the web, it could be on mobile. So that is kind of the difference, right? More interaction involved in the whole thing. So that's the difference between that. So you have to like understand what you're kind of like referring to, right? So about the maintenance part, I guess like there's a lot of tools that you can use for maintenance. When you design a website and build it, you can use WordPress. You can use what was that? Squarespace. You can use there's just a lot of website Webflow, a lot of CMS tool for the client to maintain the website. So it doesn't have to be involved you, but when you're developing that, right, you have to think about what kind of CMS to use. And last thing in this question is like, how does a web design project comes up? Like it really depends, right? It could be a restaurant client, it could be like anything. If you're focusing on website, I guess your client base is going to be pretty broad, so it could be anybody. But if you're focusing on UI and UX, you're most likely going to be working with tech companies that does like working on a real products like what I just mentioned, right? So that's a difference. The second question he asked was, since the web development websites like Wix and Squarespace are going crazy right now, do you think it's possible for a UI designer to use those platforms and do the real work development business in the real world? So there's a lot of real. So I guess like, let's be real. I think it really depends on who are you talking about, right? If you're talking about the people that doesn't have a budget to pay for your service, then they will just ask you to put something together through Wix or like Squarespace. Maybe they doesn't even have to involve you, right? Because like Squarespace and Wix, they can just go on there and purchase the theme and they just customize the entire thing themselves, right? So it doesn't have to involve a designer in it. So we have to think about who are your target audience, right? If you want to work for the people that have no budget, then I guess like this kind of website kind of works. But if you're working with the established business, they have like $1 million revenue and don't mind to pay 100 grand on a website, I guess like those are the companies that you're kind of targeting yourself to, right? Like if you're thinking about like how much does a website actually mean for the business, right? Then you can kind of upsell yourself to those clients, right? So it really depends on where do you position. I would say Wix and Squarespace, they make a lot of money because a lot of people don't really mind having like a unique website, right? They just need to have something out there. But if you're talking yourself to like high-end clients, then there's definitely a need for a very, very good web design company or development company. So really depends on where you position yourself. But if your work is not unique, just like anybody else, right, then they can just hire, like they're not hired, they can just use Wix or Squarespace. So again, it really depends on how good your skill is. Can you design something better than those themes? So ask yourself that, right? Last question is, what do you think about if a person like myself, 25 years old, with no much experience and not so many connections, want to build a design business myself? Like, may you give me some advice? Yes, I can give you some advice. My advice is don't do it right now, because if you don't have experience, it's going to be very, very hard to be a freelance designer, if you don't know anything about UI and UX and web design, I would suggest you to go back and work for a company, learn the skill first, develop your skill, and make yourself hireable to potential clients, right? So if you don't have those skills, right, think about, like you said, you're living in New York right now. New York is a very expensive city, so you'll be competing with people from like the East Europe, from India, from like a lot of other places, and people that don't mind charging less than $200 for a website design, so they can live off a pretty good income if they have that revenue, right? But to do $200 is just definitely not enough, right? So you gotta ask yourself very honestly, what is your position, right? What is your value to those people? Why do they have to hire you, not hire people from like cheaper countries, right? What is your value? So I can tell you my experiences. My value right now is I build web products. I'm really niche focused. I build web products, and I do work that other people cannot do. You cannot hire people that do similar work that I do. So that is my value, right? A lot of people, they will try to find cheaper options, but eventually they will come back to me, because just nobody can like really do stuff that I do if you don't hire a lot of, like, if you don't hire people that in a similar level, right? Not saying that in India you cannot find a similar level, but like I guess like there's a components in it. You have to find yourself to be kind of a unique sell, right? If you're not unique, you'll be a very hard sell, right? If the stuff that you do, a lot of other people can also do, then ask yourself, why do they have to hire you, right? So before you develop that sense of yourself, that uniqueness of your work, then I would say just stick with the company, learn the skill, improve yourself as a designer before you think about doing freelance work. I made a lot of video for freelancing. Should you consider doing freelancing right now or later? So check out those videos as well. So these are all of my answers to the questions, and I hope that kind of helped you out. And he did mention in the last of his video, he think that I am kind of a successful designer and he would like to be like me in the future, and that is like something that I'm really happy to be able to help other people as well. So like these are all of my knowledge, kind of I just like give you out for free, and like I hope that eventually if people kind of like look at my experience, can learn something. That is kind of like my goal of running this channel. So yeah, if you guys have any other questions that you would like to ask me, and if I can answer in any way, send me an email or leave some comment in the section down below. I'll try to answer them. And if you like the stuff that I talk about, definitely give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel as well. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Cheers.